906 AD, 4800 AM. Jewish rabbi and antiquarian Saadia Gaon wrote that the underlying meaning behind the prophecy of Malachi 3:1-2 concerns a last day's messenger, a man who would, prior to the return of the Messiah, prepare the people to receive him, and that this man would be a descendant of the tribe of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim. This would make him either British, Scottish or American. As Ephraim was to be the second and greater of the two, he would probably be from the United States. This was 1200 years before Armageddon and return of Chief Cornerstone. 1. America and Britain, our identity revealed. 907 AD, 4801 AM. The Rus Vikings attacked Constantinople with 2,000 ships. The early Russian state was trying to force its way into the marketplace of Constantinople. 1. The Vikings. 908 AD, 4802 AM. A violent earthquake rocked northern Egypt in the region of the Great Pyramid. This was the second year of the passing of the Vials of Phoenix Comet Group. 1. Pyramid Quest. 911 AD, 4805 AM. Hrolf of Norway was also called Rollo. He sailed up the Seine in this year and blockaded it. In exchange for not attacking Paris, he was granted some land on the northwest coast, and Rollo became the first Duke of Normandy. Rollo was a gigantic man, so large that no horse could carry him. The Irish annals record the appearance of a comet. This was the 5th year of the Vials of Phoenix Comet Group. 1. Saxons, Vikings and Celts. 2. History in quotations. 3. Round Towers of Atlantis. 912 AD, 4806 AM. As Hrolf the Ganger, Rollo, settles many Viking families into the newly formed Dukedom of Normandy on the other side of Europe in the east, a treaty is formed between the Rus Vikings and the Greeks of Constantinople, which established the Varangian Guard. Russian groups were garrisoned in the ancient Greek city, Byzantium, as a measure of protection against the Greeks' other enemies. Interestingly, the treaty recognises that there had been peace between the Rus and the people of Constantinople 70 years before. This year was exactly 1656 years after the 10 tribes of Israel were deported into Assyria in 745 BC, and 1224 years after the start of the Greek-Syrian Seleucid calendar in 313 BC. 1. A short history of the world. 2. The Vikings. 922 AD, 4816 AM. In this year the Sufis formally branched away from Greater Islam. They were mystics, and most of them departed Babylon, Baghdad, and settled in Persia, Iran, where they were tolerated. Many of the descendants of those in the Middle East have Israelite blood, as is also reflected in the calendrics. This was 2368 years after the exodus of Israel from Egypt in 1447 BC, and 2368 years is 1184 plus 1184 years, and this exodus of Muslim Sufis from Babylonia to Persia was 1184 years before Armageddon in 2106 AD. This was also the 300th year of the Islamic after Hijra calendar, Arab history, a calendar that started in a commemoration of Muhammad's exodus from persecution in one city to seek refuge in another. 1. Christ, the Power and the Passion. 927 AD, 4821 AM. The English defeated the Vikings that occupied Northumbria, the northernmost county, led by Edward's son Athelstan. Due to the political chaos, someone in this year buried a treasure of 617 coins from as far as Scandinavia, Russia and Afghanistan, along with 65 other gold and precious objects. Edward was the local Anglo-Saxon king known as Edward the Elder. This Viking treasure remained hidden for exactly 1080 years, to be rediscovered by David and Andrew Whelan in 2007 AD. 930 AD, 4824 AM. The religious epicentre of the Islamic world, Mecca, is attacked and the Kaaba is sacked. The ancient relic from the sky, a meteorite, was taken by the Carmathians, an artefact that antedates Islam in its veneration. This was a tremendous blow to the Muslim world. This was the year 666 of the Christian Coptic calendar. This year was 1242 years after the start of the Greek Seleucid calendar, and 4968 years of the orbital chronology began in 4039 BC. 932 AD, 4826 AM, Feng Yingwang of China printed the 5 Confucian scriptures for the first time using the block printing method. 1. History in quotations. 936 AD, 4830 AM, planet Phoenix passes through the inner solar system, completing its 138-year orbit, this being 460 years after the fall of Rome, or 5520 months, 552 being a Phoenix cycle of 4 orbits. As this was the end of the Dark Ages, there are no surviving records of a sighting. Phoenix crossed the ecliptic in May, but Earth may have been at this time too far along its orbital path.